Warning: this program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
School's letting out, and the temperatures are heating up as we slide into a little well-deserved R&R and get ready for a hellacious run later this year. So welcome back for episode 165 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berserker. Mr. Corden is already on a well-deserved break, and on today's show, we'll be walking across the Warcraft roadmap, seeing what visions lay along the way, checking in with Mr. Hazakostas, and rating one of, and this is a spoiler alert, the greatest trading post months of all time. But first, as I mentioned at the top, it is time for a bit of a summer break, as has become sort of the custom around here. Time to have a little break in the summer months where, frankly, things are slowing down a bit and life just kind of gets a little bit crazy. Got birthday this month and activities around that and Father's Days and travel and a bunch of other stuff. So this will be the last episode of the show until probably late July is going to be my early guess. It'll kind of depend on some things we got coming up, and I will get to that a little bit later. But just for your planning purposes, when it's been a little bit and June's rolling on and July's coming in and you haven't heard anything, well, that's why. Just life. That's it. So this week is kind of like, if you recall being in school in the old days, or maybe recent times, I don't know, maybe there's one young listener, you shouldn't be listening to this, where that last week or two of school was nothing. It was low key. There was just kind of, let's hang out, and maybe we got lucky, teacher rolled in a TV on a stand with a VCR and we'd watch, I don't know, Stand and Deliver or something. Whatever it is, that's sort of the vibe I think of this week, is just low-key, relaxed. We got a few things I wanted to cover on the way out the door and try to have a little fun in doing so. And yes, Jez, not here today. He's already tied up with a bunch of stuff, and I don't even think he could make a show for the next month. So that's where we are, and hope you all will come back with us later in the summer when I am sure we will have a ton to talk about and do. So, for this week's metal album of the week, we're gonna go way back. Way back to the back. We're talking about 1980s back. And it just so happens that this album is coming up on its 39th anniversary, I believe. All the way back to June 9th. 1986. The album is Night Songs by the band Cinderella, who hopefully some of you know. This is an old school hair metal type band, and this group used to get a ton of play. If you listen to like old classic metal stations and stuff like that, you see tons of their work, and some of those songs might include a few from this album. Shake Me, Nobody's Fool, Somebody Save Me. These were like the big ones that had a lot of airplay back when music videos used to be something, and a little bit of everything sometimes you just want to rip and run. Sometimes you are feeling a moment because your girl left you and something's going on. And, then other times you feel like you're under pressure in your whole life and you got all this stuff going on. And, oh, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Cinderella's got a song for you. It was led by a phenomenal singer and musician by the name of Tom Kiefer. Tom is still with us, but the band is not. Tom, I believe, is still out there touring with I think it's the Tom Kiefer Band. He has a very signature sort of raspy, it's good for like a hair metal type band, but a raspy-ish voice and just solid all the way through. Really makes you feel things. But the band itself hasn't been around for more than 10 years now. They disbanded. Well, I don't know if they ever technically disbanded. They just kind of stopped back in 2014, and they didn't even really release a whole lot of records. They're, I think, maybe have 3 or 4 total. So it was a short-lived burst for this band, but they were a phenomenal band while they were around, and this is one of the great albums and a solid listen. So highly recommend it. It's in the vein of Motley Crue, Poison, those sorts of groups that were around back then. So Night Songs, Cinderella, pull it up, jam out, and enjoy. With that, let's get to our rage portion of the show, and I am going to immediately contradict something that I just said not but minutes ago. Let's get into it. Let's rage. So, but a moment ago, I hinted, I gave a spoiler that this month, June 2025, has perhaps one of the greatest trading posts of all time in the World of Warcraft. Went in there this morning. First thing, because I'd seen a couple of things. I was like, oh, I got to check this out. I stayed up late last night because I had not filled out my adventure log from last month, and I almost missed out on the customizable pet, which was the reward for last month. And I can't remember what its name was, but because I renamed it, because all the good ones you got to rename. And if you got that, great experiment. I thought that was a good one. Yeah, stayed up late, got up this morning, checked out the new and improved. Well, yeah, it's improved. It's super good. Trading post. But right away, what did I see, folks? A blatant example of false advertising. False advertising. Because among the many offerings this month, one of the things that I did see, and I do love them when they have them, this goat style model. And this month, we have the reins of the spotted black riding goat. So you think to yourself, Berserker, what's the problem? Look at this goat. He's got one busted ass horn that's basically tied into place. So he got roughed up by somebody, or his girl threw him out, or something bad happened. He's got his little bell on. He's got a big nose ring. Got some hooch on the back. Not hoochie, hooch in a basket container of some kind. There's another a basket to put more shit in. Some sort of drinking vessel, a saddle. Like, Berserker, this goat's got it all. Well, you know what it doesn't have? Do you know what this spotted goat does not have? It does not have spots. Does it have some highlights circa 2002 that you might have seen on, I don't know, John and Kate plus 8? Perhaps. But spots? There are none. And I can't believe in this day and age, there would be such false advertising. You need to put spots on that goat. You need to pull this out of the rotation, slap some spots on that thing, make it look like a cow, and put him back in rotation. Because this simply will not do. You will not get my however many trader tenders this is, like 500. Did I already buy it? Yeah, I guess I did already buy it. False advertising besides. So Blizzard, please make sure from now on that your description in the title matches the item. Because today, it's a spotted black goat. Tomorrow, well, red will be blue. One-handers will be two-handers. Shamans will be wearing plate. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. You get what I'm saying. So please, for the love of God, Blizzard, fix it up. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into some news, and we're going to start by reviewing our roadmap and looking in to the future. That poor busted goat. It's a great model, though. Wonderful model. All right. So, as I mentioned, going to be taking a little summer break here, and I feel confident in doing so for this show because in looking at the 2025 World of Warcraft, the War Within roadmap, which is readily available anywhere, so I recommend people just keep that handy so you can also help plan all of your major life events around World of Warcraft and its upcoming offerings. And looking at it, let's start with where we are and where perhaps we might be going timing-wise now that we're kind of playing this out. 11.1.5, our current patch, came out at the end of April 22nd of this year. And sort of looking at the 8-week-ish cadence of what we've been growing accustomed to, let's say. And there's always room for movement. They don't always have to do this. There's no contractual agreement that says we have to do it, but based on those numbers. We know that 11.1.7 on the PTR. A lot of news coming out about that. And I would feel confident in saying that this is most likely coming out at the end of this month, end of June, somewhere around there. I'm sure that the date will be announced anytime now, along with probably some more information about 11.2, which still waiting to see more of what's going on with that. So with 11.1.7 probably coming at the end of June, hereabouts. Moving then on from there, it looks like 11.2 possibly could be somewhere mid to late August. So for us here, we come back, probably late July. It will give us time to catch up to speed on how 11.1.7 went, what's coming up in 11.2, and getting ready for what's quickly coming after that, the expansion reveal for World of Warcraft Midnight. Kind of funny that they have expansion reveal on here when we know what the expansion is going to be, but maybe that's when we're going to get the big cinematic and see whatever horrible thing is going to befall Quel'The the Lost or whatever it's going to be. The Sunwell is going to get corrupted again, and whatever it is, it's going to be bad. Whatever it is, it's going to be bad and crazy. But looking at the roadmap again and kind of figuring out what these dates might be, September to me on this map looks to be about the time, early September perhaps, when we're going to see the full expansion reveal. And then from there, 11.2.5, maybe sometime near October, and 11.2.7, and the housing There's that little housing tag on the roadmap. Thinking that's probably December, before Blizzard takes the winter break, because they too take little breaks in the VIP club. We're notified that, hey, they're pretty much shutting down for a couple weeks, and I imagine that they'll want to get the housing stuff up and going and out so people can play around with that on the break, or maybe they'll wait until right after, because I don't know, maybe some crazy stuff will be happening with it then. But that is essentially the rhythm of what I think we're going to be looking at this point, now that we're right on the verge officially of summer. So with 11.17, more story, some updates. 11.2, we know there's going to be a new zone, new dungeon, new raid. There's going to be some Warband updates. It contains some Brewfest updates. And then Season 3, of course, will start from there. And then 11.2.5, that's going to be our 21st anniversary and some more updates. And 11.2.7, they say that there's some story and stuff in there. So that's where we're looking at the second half of this year. Super curious how things are going to go sour, how things are going to go bad for all of us on Azeroth. Pretty excited to see, of course, whatever cinematic we're going to get with Midnight. The one for War Within, I still tear up every time I see it. So I can only imagine what Midnight's going to be, but probably going to be crazy. So that sort of dictates our calendar. And again, I think it's safe for us to take a break here for a little while, but always curious to hear people's thoughts. If you have some other guess, if you think this calendaring is off, let me know. Throw down some thoughts. In the meantime, we are in, as I mentioned, 11.1.5, and as they've sort of time gated this content, we've now had hands on with the new horrific visions, and I am maybe in the minority, but I'm not impressed. They are the worst thing that anything can be in a game, to me anyway, which is boring. Rommel and I, we ran them a couple times, and I think after the first few, we knew this just isn't it. I know that there are ways to make things more difficult, and good for you. You can put some masks on when you're running around Stormwind or Orgrimmar. You can, essentially make things more difficult. Things will spawn if you're below a certain health, or your sanity is reduced, or whatever it is. Increasing their damage, the baddies' damage. If that is your jam, then good for you. I can see where this is going to go. Some of the rewards are great. The titles that they have, I think, are some of the best they've ever had in game. One being The Mad, and that's completing both cities solo with 8 masks. The other being The Faceless One, and I'm sure if Jez was here, he'd probably be vying for that one as well. But shadow mounts that are in there. They've got some other cosmetics that are in there. The whole old god thing, not my vibe. The weirdo mounts, the bugs, just not for me. So I don't know if the horrific visions will be run much more on my account, but that is my assessment of those at this point. I know there are other shows and podcasts and other folks that are enjoying it and diving way deeper into this. But that is the extent to which I will be going into it from this point on. Now, luckily for me and maybe some other people in my situation and for players at large, this week on June 3rd, we will now finally get our hands on the Dastardly Duos system that was teased out some time ago, and it is part of the 11.1.5 release, but this is the furthest gated thing that we have had. And celebrating the release of this, Blizzard has put out a couple of interesting videos. One being with a few designers Blizzard designers, as they talk through how they made this event. And it's a 6-week event, in case you were calendaring your life around World of Warcraft, as I mentioned earlier. But this first video that they had out walks you through how they came up with this, sort of the ideas that they had. But one of the people that they had is a guy that's been around Blizzard forever and whose name you probably recognize in a different form. The real name is Pat Nagel. If you've ever been fishing, this is where Nat Pagel came from. And I don't know how this dude is still around, but he's still around. And it was his idea, apparently, to come up with this. And it was a good time to see. It's always fun to see how they come up with these things. And in conjunction with this, they also put out another video with Blizzard's lore master, Sean Copeland, and some guy named Platinum WoW. It sounds like he's a popular YouTuber. So if you recognize that name, sweet, good for you. No, I recognize. I'm just being a dick. So Platinum WoW got the opportunity to sit down with Sean Copeland and talk about, it's kind of interesting, the backgrounds and the lore for the bosses that are being put into the Dastardly Duos. And at first, I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. You know, got a lot of good bosses in the past, and, you know, it's always good to brush up on these things and hear a little bit more from Blizzard's lore master and other folks about certain things. But one of the things that I think I realized as I was watching some of this earlier footage and reading through some of the articles was, I think I made some suppositions about which bosses might be involved or what kind of. I thought these were all going to be like big raid bosses. Like we were going to see, you know, the Lich King and Magtheridon. It turns out that these are all dungeon bosses. Random, seemingly dungeon bosses from the past, and in particularly the video with Sean Copeland, the lore master, they go into who all of them are, and I think they maybe kind of had to do it because I am damn near sure most players don't recognize hardly any of these bosses. There are 10, and they are as follows: Baron Silverlane from Shadowfang Keep, Brogok from Blood Furnace, Chrono Lord Epoch from the Culling of Stratholme, who I think I've killed probably more than any other boss. Well, yeah. That I can remember anyway. Glubtalk from the Dead Mines, Hydromancer Thespia from Steam Vault, Lord Walden from Shadowfang Keep. I think that's one a lot of folks might know, particularly of the Worgen variety. Mechigneer Steam Rigger from the Steam Vault, Rattlegore from Skullomance, and Watchkeeper Garglemar from Hellfire Ramparts. I'm not sure that this is the direction that I would have gone in, but we'll see how it plays out. The Dastardly Duos is an interesting format in and of itself when you go and you look at some of the articles that are out there about it, and then of course we'll get our hands on. This isn't like a traditional we run in, kill a boss, gets a blue. This is a system where you are trying to score points. And the more points that you score, the higher score that you get, and it awards you different things. So it's kind of difficult for me to describe through just talking to you. You kind of have to see a lot of this stuff because there's a lot to it. There are different kinds of buffs that you can get. There's food buffs, drink buffs. There's a way that you can go in, right? This is a 5-player dungeon bit. So you can go in by yourself. You got the AI group. You can grab a buddy and go in. You can have a group of 5. You can kind of game out how you're going to score these points. And there's a lot of this that's kind of unknown right now, other than one of the pets that can be earned is a ball bag, which I find just hysterical that you're gonna name anything ball bag, but it's truly an experiment, and that I do give them credit for, as this is unlike anything that we've seen before. It's, it's still in that zany goblin sort of vibe where we're doing something different and kind of crazy, but might just be crazy enough to work. So we're going to see that this week here on West Coast, 8 a.m. June 3rd. It's out, and then you can extrapolate your times out from there. You'll be able to enter into this, I believe, from Stormwind, Orgrimmar, and Dornogal. You'll be looking for Vinny Sweets is apparently running the show, and you'll need to speak with Ziggy Maru to queue for the fight. And a visit with Woden, the troll servant vendor, will get you access over the weeks to some additional power-ups or items that can help you in the fight. I think there's even stuff like cherry bombs or something. So we're gonna see about this one. This is one that is off the beaten path. Again, the sort of experimental work that they've been doing lately, the Plunderstorm type things in terms of a game mode, and now in-game, something unlike other systems that we've seen. So hopefully that will get us to somewhere that we want to go and keep running. And I won't be back for a while to talk about it, but curious to get folks' thoughts, and maybe we'll have a little something for it when I get back. Or should I say, we get back. One thing I did want to mention about patch 11.1.7, there's a preview, PTR stuff going around, and I did see at least one YouTuber making comments about this, in that, if you recall, there is a new system that's going to be introduced in 11.1.7, where we'll be able to experience, and it seems like fairly longer storylines or quest lines for classic situations that we know of, the Lich King being one. But the sort of Life and Times of Xalatath is one that is being put in as part of this. And in the quest line, you learn more about not necessarily where she came from originally in the scope of the cosmos, but how she came to be imprisoned in the knife, and her relationship to the old gods, and what we did, and sort of that kind of stuff. But in it, there was sort of some noise being made about the fact that you get to see, and I'm going to put air quotes in this, the real Xalatath. We've speculated for a long time that whatever the true form of Xalatath is, that it's something that's hideous and heinous and horrible and tentacled and multi-eyed and just wholly rancid, because what we see as the sort of elven version of her with the feet, far more attractive and deadly in that way. I don't know about everybody else. If what I've seen is true, I hope it's just a placeholder, because the true form is it's pretty underwhelming. It's essentially like a void wraith looking figure, and I can't imagine that is the realest, truest form, because it's kind of nothing. And I know some people are like, oh, there it is. Oh, take a look at it. Maybe I shouldn't have had expectations, but I was a little iffy about it. So you might see some of those things popping up around social media and YouTube and other places. And I would, I don't know. I might throw a little caution on that. Don't expect too much if you're holding back on that one. But the 11.1.7 PTR, it's on the PTR now. I understand that going way far, 11.25, that is already on some encrypted server situation. So they're chugging along, and they keep going at this pace. I can't believe that they're hitting, but there you have it. If you're interested in seeing this thing, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or get out there on the PTR yourself and go through the quest line. But these sort of, Lore Walker Cho giving us the deets. That'll be an interesting ride once 11.1.7 comes alive. Otherwise, a couple of other things I wanted to bring to folks' attention is one, because we do love these, the pre-order is now available for what is going to be, we assume, the well, they say it right here. I'll just read it. Stop making stuff up, Berserker. Just read the fucking thing. Here it is. From Blizzard is World of Warcraft Blood Ties. That's the name of the book. Is an original prequel novel to the highly anticipated World of Warcraft Midnight game expansion, the second chapter in the World Soul Saga. So, there we go. Right on the cover, we have some people that we recognize. Turalyon, Ilaria, and their son, Erator, the Redeemer. We know that this individual has got to play some really important parts to this story, because they keep kind of touching on, Erator, he's around, he's got the double dragon thing going on. So it's time that this gets unleashed. It's probably because we're going up to the Sunwell and all the elves have got to reunite and do their thing in some way. That'd be my guess. The cover that they've released is pretty cool. He's got an updated model. He's got some badass, very Silver Moony looking armor, and it looks pretty rad with the two different kinds of tattoos on each arm that he has. But more important than any of this, more important than the characters, more important than it being a prequel novel, more important than it coming out November 18th, 2025, is that this book is written by none other than Christy Golden. Christy Golden, the patron saint of Warcraft books in this household. Good to see her back. She did put some comments about this on social media, that this was written after she was laid off as a full-time Blizzard employee. So that's got to be a little awkward, having to get contracted for work that, I don't know. She worked across all of the Blizzard franchises, but being jettisoned and then being asked to write a book about some other work that you may have been involved with at one time, got to be kind of an awkward relationship. But good to see Christy still in the mix. There's always a chance, kind of figured that she would be, but to see it, it's great. There's a bit of a description here that they have on Blizzard's website. They give a little blurb about it. Here's what it has to say. Erator the Redeemer was born to heroism. The son of High Exarch Turalyon and the legendary Ilaria Windrunner, Erator has long borne the weight and expectations of their legacy. The legacy he inherited as a babe, the day his parents disappeared through the dark portal. Ilaria and Turalyon's journey took them farther afield than they'd intended. While their absence spanned mere decades on Azeroth, the heroes experienced 1,000 years at war against the Burning Legion, a demonic army seeking the destruction of all worlds. When at last they reunited with their son, Erator was a grown man, pledged to the very order of paladins for which they had once fought. The Legion fell quickly in a decisive final battle, yet the millennium of distance between the family was less easily conquered. Now, on the other side of recent events in Khaz-Algar, Erator embarks on a new journey, investigating rumors of a strange glow emanating from the ruins of a long-abandoned Legion base. That can't be good. Turalyon and Ilaria volunteer to assist, eager to eliminate their ancient enemy before it can threaten their world anew. As the family delves further into the mystery, Erator works to reconcile his parents' heroic legacy with the flawed people he has come to know. You're learning that your parents are human. Flawed. That's a fun lesson for everyone to learn. He sees both of his parents in himself, his father's high standards, his mother's intellect, their unwavering commitment to the defense of Azeroth. But Erator exists at the conflux of their greatest strengths and weaknesses. Weaknesses that are revealed as the demonic threat proves to be a former lieutenant of the Burning Legion, intent on using Azeroth to launch a new campaign of destruction. Boom. So there you go. Pre-order now. You know we will. You know we do. World of Warcraft Blood Ties by Christy Golden, coming November 18th, 2025. So get on that. Outside of this wonderful news, our wonderful game director, who I love so much, and if you hate him, then stop listening to my show, Mr. Ian Hazakostas, gave a presentation recently, about an hour long or so, at a Nordic game developer conference, and in it, he talked a lot about sort of the evolution of World of Warcraft. Gave a bit of his background, which was always fun to hear. I don't know if you know this, but he was an attorney before he came to the World of Warcraft as a developer. But he talked about how, the game has changed quite a bit in 20 years, as we all know. They had a fun slide there. It said it used to take approximately 200 hours to reach max level, and now it's about 20, which I didn't realize it was that low. Maybe I ought to start leveling some more characters. I don't know. But he talked about, this was about game developer lessons learned, I think was a big thing. And learning that trust is so important with your clientele, whoever plays your games, whoever does, anything, interfaces with your work in any way. Especially in gaming, you want it to be fun. One of the little fun sayings that they had is, "It must be fun today for tomorrow to matter." That was something he had on a slide. I thought that was a really good sort of summation of the mindset that you have to have when making a game like this. And in it, he talks about how, with a game that's so diverse in terms of its population, in terms of its activities, you're not going to please everyone, and that's just how it is. But you should try to make changes along the way if you fuck up. And prioritizing player problems, something that's really important. And, you hear people complain all the time, and Blizzard often is slow to adapt. But I do think it is important to hear this said aloud, that when we have challenges, if there are things that we don't like, if we say something, do something, right? If you're going to commit to 8 weeks, every 8 weeks you're going to have something, then you better have something every 8 weeks, which, again, going back to the roadmap we've seen. So it was really interesting to hear Ian talk about things in a more generalized way, not specific to like, here's this expansion or this patch or this system that we're putting in place or whatever it is. It was really eye-opening to see him talk more as just a developer. It went through one of the examples that he used to kind of talk about the evolution of the game were the talent trees. He had some slides talking about, this is what we had originally, and then we blew this thing up and it got convoluted and complicated, and then we dumbed that back down. I think that was in the Pandaria time. And then we blew that back up again to now what we have today, the talent trees that we have today, with something else that he says on the slide is, if things aren't fun today, there won't be a tomorrow. Which is very true. For tomorrow to matter, or for tomorrow to exist at all, you have to have people engaged in the here and now. So if you haven't checked that out, it's about an hour long. But it's really cool to see Ian out there, and he's wearing a jacket that I don't know, he looks like a lab professor. I know it's supposed to be like a sport coat, but it's just funny to see Ian sort of evolving now. He's got the beard, good idea, love the beard, and then now he's got this kind of like jacket going on. So he's very professional, and always good to see. So if you haven't seen that, Nordic Game Day 1, it's a live stream that they recorded. He's about 4 hours and 7 minutes in, 4 hours, 5 minutes in, somewhere in that neighborhood. So go check that out. It's on YouTube and easy to find. So last but not least, as we head out the door for summer vacation, and no, there's no Q&A this week, so this will be the last piece that we do, the June Trading Post ratings. And let me tell you, I really appreciate that for my birthday, in honor of me, because I'm sure that was their intent. Blizzard has put together one of the best trading posts that they've ever done. This might be the best. I can't think of a better one. And I almost went broke this morning when I logged in and jumped in the trading post store because there was so much that I wanted to have. It really was quite a wallet buster on this one. So why don't we start with a couple of the mounts that they have. So for the 700 trader tenders, the Cold Flame Chimera.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
It's a chimera that is like on blue fire and rocky, and this thing, I don't typically like the chimera mounts, but this thing is insane looking. It's awesome. And right alongside it, also for 700 trader tender, the returning pearlescent goblin wave shredder.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
I don't know why I passed on this one before, because this definitely has this sort of, I don't know, what was it TNC Surf Company? It's like an old folks will remember this one with me. Back in the 80s, there was like this surf company, and they had like a big gorilla that was the mascot of this thing, and it somehow reminds me of that, like the board that you're standing on. It's got that black and white checkerboard pattern, kind of reminiscent of like Airwalks. Like it just has this sweet vibe, and it's cool as hell riding around on that thing. It looks like a big surfboard with like jets on the side. They also have these kinds of things now where they've got the little like fin underneath. Super cool. Love that one. It's a little steep at 700, but it's a damn good mount. And just because I talked about it earlier, let's hit the reins of the spotted black riding goat.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Where are the spots? Where are they? They're not there. Well, that's your rating right there. Well, let's get to some other stuff here. We also have the, what do we got here? The brick. Brick is the color this year or this month of the war wraps, the war slippers, the war skirts, the masks, all that stuff. The Prowler's shoulder cape, the headgear, all brick, all the time. Let's hit it.
I mean, it's all right. Like,
Not my favorite color. But it's all right. Next up, we have for 300 each, the Molten Inferno Helm and the Arcano Stone Great Helm.
that's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
Skulls on fire. One is red, one is blue. They had some kind of headpieces similar to this in the past, but these are far, 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 far superior. And alongside them, for 550 trader tenders a piece, two ensembles, 550 a piece. One is Cold Flame Battle Gear, the other is Lava Born Battle Gear, and I bet you know where I'm going with this.
That's what I'm talking about. 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 That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
I want to believe that in an alternate universe, this was a warrior tier set somewhere. It's big and chunky and fiery and spiky shoulder plates and horned helms and scary eyes. One is, again, following the theme of the month. One is sort of red fire. The other one is blue fire. These are two phenomenal ensembles. They're just, the transmog goes so hard this month. It's unbelievable. And this has got to be one of the best ever. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, man, I can't wait to get back in the game and make so many different transmog sets with this. It's fucking crazy. Next to it, this might surprise you a little bit. For 650 trader tender a piece, We have Ensemble Sunny Tropical Beachwear and Ensemble Sunny Tropical Swimwear.
I mean, it's all right. Like,
I don't know how you have the greatest ensembles of all time in the battle gear for $550, and then you have this beachwear, which is good, for $650. It makes zero sense to me. I don't know how inflation works in World of Warcraft, but for some reason this can't be right. I don't know if there is a tariff on inner tubes or something in World of Warcraft, but this should be like $350. I don't know how it's more expensive. I don't know how they figured that out. As far as all the weapons go, again, they follow a similar Cold Flame and Red Flame. It's literally the name of a couple of these here. And, you know,
I mean, it's all right. Like,
they're okay. You know, ranging from 150 Trader Tender up to 245. And the reason why I give them such a low rating, where are my two-handed swords? You've got the greatest ensembles of all time. But yet, no corresponding weapons for the two-handed warriors. I cannot believe it. I don't know how they did that to us, but the ones that they have are still pretty cool. So, you know. Last but not least, should you complete your Traveler's Log in June 2025, you will be awarded the Molten Chimera.
that's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
This is the red version of the very first thing I mentioned, which is the blue fire Chimera. What do they call it? The Cold Flame Chimera. Just a phenomenal month. And I am so glad I've saved so many Trader Tenders for so long, because I'm almost flat dead broke, and I'm going to have to do a lot more activities to make up for it. And not that I want months to suck, but man, I hope July sucks, because I'm not going to be able to afford very much, because this one just completely wiped me out. So one more time, June Trading Post 2025.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Blizzard. This was indeed one of the best of all time. And those are my ratings. They don't have to be yours, but that's what I got. All right. I think we've done enough damage for one episode. My thanks to all of you for listening. And remember, you can always follow me and the show on Twitter at Berserker Rage and Unshackled_Fury, on Blue Sky at Berserker and Unshackled Fury, as well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury and Real Berserker. Of course, you can also go to JezGordon.com to go see Jez and all of his stuff. You can also join our Discord, links for which are on the profile of the show on Twitter and on our website, unshackledfury.com. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources, or email us at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.